Good morning, Floss Tube. Today is Friday, and as promised, we decided to show you how we are finishing our third in the Jolly July Ornament series. Today we launched Merry Mrs. Claus. You can see that in the middle there, and Mom is going to show you how she finishes it.
Okay, so for what you need, of course you need your finished stitching and iron it. And then you need sticky board. This is 3 by 4 inches, and this will go for the stitching. Then you need 2 pieces of sticky board that are 3.5 by 4 3/4. And the reason why I did 2 was so that the back will be covered. And you can see right there that the backs are covered. And I make it a little bit taller so you have room for your bow. You also need batting. I used a little bottle brush wreath, a piece of ribbon for the hanger. I used 2 different kinds of ribbon for the bow. And I also used some Lori Holt vintage trim. I used the small on this one, the big on this one. I'm going to use the small today. Some flocked greenery I used. A pipe cleaner for the bow, glue sticks, and of course your hot glue gun.
Do you want to show them your glue gun? Because people are interested in which glue gun it is.
Ooh.
It's okay. Just show this side. There we go. Sure Bonder, it's green and black.
And I'm going to apologize for my nails because they have mulch and everything else in it, and I tried to paint over it. It's just not coming out.
Who cares? One thing you're not seeing here is you're going to need backing fabric, so we'll grab
The most important part is, besides the stitching, is the finishing fabric, and this comes from our Christmas finishing fat quarter bundle from Fat Quarter Shop. So I'm using this plaid for both the front and the back. Okay, let's get started. So I gave you the sizes for the sticky boards so you can cut your sticky boards. Okay, the first thing we're gonna do is take our smallest piece of sticky board, which is 3 by 4 inches, and we're gonna peel the part off of it. This is much easier sticky board than this, because this one you gotta kind of guess which side is the sticky, but this one, it's
the paper
this side,
film.
right?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna hand this to my assistant and she's gonna peel it for me. Okay, so half an hour later, we'll just peel off the paper, and then we stick it on the batting, and we're gonna trim around it. That scissors won't work.
Those are gardening shears for the tomato plants.
My scissors are full of hot glue, so I didn't want you to see that. Okay, so we have the batting on the sticky board, and then we lay our stitching down, and we try to get it centered on the design, and then we turn it over and check. And you can see that it's about the same distance on both ends and both sides.
Mom has always finished her stuff with very little border, so she doesn't like a lot of extra fabric in the background.
I like finishing fabric, I don't like stitching fabric. And if you're doing this on your kitchen counter, make sure this is parchment paper that I put down, but make sure you have something down that the hot glue isn't going to stick to. I couldn't see it very well, so I put my glasses on. Now I can see better. Okay, so now I have it where I want it. So I held it firmly to get it to lay down like this, and I'm gonna start to glue. And just put a little drop of glue in each corner, one at a time, and fold it at a 90-degree angle.
And be careful not to pull too tightly, because the corners of the sticky board will go through.
Yes, but do it taut enough that your stitching is not floppy on there.
Loose.
And if you do them at a 90-degree angle, you won't have a whole lot of bundled up stuff in your corners. Okay, so then I'm going to turn it back over and make sure that I'm still good with the centering, which I am. Got lots of glue threads on there. And then I'm gonna start at the bottom, and I'm gonna glue down these little flaps just a little bit, put some glue, and then glue this up and push it with your fingers to push it up.
Glue guns disperse hot glue, so be careful when
Yes.
you're doing this.
And then I went to the other end. You want to do one end, then the other end, and then do the sides. And then the last side. Okay, so we're going to address those corners. We'll just put a little drop of glue in here and then pinch it together with our fingers. Don't put too much because it'll ooze out onto the front of your stitching and you don't want that. Just a little bit. This will get you sharp corners. These are really easy ornaments to finish because we made them all the same size and I wanted them all to be the same, so. And there, all your corners are pointy. So now we'll work on our 2 backing pieces. So we'll take the sticky or the paper off the sticky board. And we'll open this up. Whoop. And lay this down on top of it, trying to make it even. Some of these fabrics, they don't make them, like this is gonna be crooked because of the way that the fabric's printed on the way that the design is printed on the fabric.
And that one's already on a bias, so you don't need to turn it or anything. It's straight up and down,
Yep.
right?
But it's really bad crooked. You can see it on the sides. I might do the side instead of the top. All right, so I'm gonna do it there. And then I'm gonna cut around it. You only need about 1 inch.
Yes, leave a border because you're gonna tuck it behind.
And then smooth it on the front and do the same thing where you fold it over and make sure that it looks even. And then we're gonna do the same thing where we glue the corners. Make sure it's at a 90-degree angle. And then start at the bottom and fold it up. Smooth it with your fingers it helps to pull the fabric taut from the front. And then you can do the same with your corners on this. If they're not meeting, to make them pointy enough, you can stick some glue in there to make them pointy. But there's one. Now we're gonna do it a second time. And cut around it again. This one has a fold in it, so just make sure that if you have a fold in your fabric, that you smooth it out. But sticky board is really great with wrinkles. It gets rid of them. And then we'll do the same with the corners. So you're going to do these corners 12 times for one ornament. I think I'm going to trim a little bit of this off. And this time I started on the side to fold it over, so do the other side and then go to the bottom and the top.
Mom, here's a Tic Tac. Did you? No.
Okay, then I'm gonna go and do the corners, make them flat. We lost that little wreath, and that was my last one, and Chelsea had to go rip one off of one of my other finishes, and then she found it on the floor. Okay, so I have the two pieces of sticky board with the fabric on them, and I'm going to designate, this one is the back, so I'm gonna put this is gonna be the hanger to hang the ornament. I just glue that down like that. Then I'm going to take this vintage trim rickrack and add it around the outside edge. I don't do across the top because you don't see it, so it's just one less curve you have to
maneuver.
Yeah. So I just put a little bit of glue really close to the edge with the small stuff. The bigger stuff is a little bit easier to attach if you've never done this before. Need my glasses again. But the hot glue is maneuverable for a couple of minutes, so if you get it on there and you don't like where it is, but
when you get one of these good glue guns, if you get one of the inexpensive ones, the glue will dry really quick because this heats it up very, very hot. You also don't have to push as hard on the trigger.
The corners can be a little bit tricky, but
you can do it.
Just do the best you can. And flip it over every once in a while to make sure that you have, that it's showing. And then we'll just cut this off at the end. You can cut it off a little bit more and fold it over if you want, but it doesn't show where you have it on the ornament, so you don't have to do anything special. So I'm just gonna cut mine off even. And that's the back. And if you want, you can do like a little name sticker, or you can take that fabric puffy paint and write your name and the year on it, which I've done on some of my ornaments, or you can just leave it plain. Then we're gonna sandwich this one on top and glue those two pieces together. Hot glue all the way around the edges. And then lay it on there evenly. And press down. So now we're gonna take our stitching and I'm gonna add a glue. Don't add too much because it'll squeeze out around the edges. And I'm gonna make it so that it's down closer to the bottom so I have more room up at the top we just want a little bit of the bottom to show.
The embellishments will
The bow will take up a lot of the room up at the top. This is hard on parchment paper. But you just want to make sure that those are all glued together. So now we're going to make a bow. And we're going to start with this. I use this plaid ribbon. I found this at Walmart last year, like in the gift wrap department, and it is wired ribbon. So to make a bow, I make a loop and another loop and cut them.
I'll slow that down one more time.
I should probably measure this too. This is like 16.5 inches of ribbon.
Ish.
Yes. And it's 1 inch ribbon. So this was probably 1 inch. It might have been 3/4 of an inch. So this looks like one of those.
Awareness ribbons.
Right. You start there and then just loop this around. Now I have my bow too big there, so I want this to be smaller. You can always trim off the ends, but that's about the size I want.
Okay.
So you could take your pipe cleaner and wrap it around here now, or you can set this down with something on top of it and then make your other ribbon that goes on the top. And I do that exactly the same way, but just a little bit smaller.
How long is that ribbon? Ish.
15.5 inches, but we probably won't use the whole thing. We probably got a couple of inches left.
Okay.
So we have that. And then we put it on top of this other bow. And hold it tight and just take your pipe cleaner and wrap it around. I use pipe cleaners because they're very easy to maneuver. And then if I have a situation where I'm gonna attach a ribbon and then be able to take it off, a pipe cleaner works the best for that. Most of the time though, when I change ribbons out, I do use magnets and washers, but they are attached with a pipe cleaner. And then fluff your bow
Always fluff the bow.
and trim the ends. And there you have a bow. And it's gonna go right there. So we're gonna add some glue. You can trim your ends shorter if you want. And I just use my regular scissors to cut the pipe cleaners, which you're probably not supposed to, but.
There's no rules here. We used garden shears to
There-
cut the fabric.
There
so
probably
it's-
should be.
There's no rules.
Okay.
No cross stitch police.
All right, so I'm gonna add glue to the back of this. And then I'm gonna set it right there on the ornament. So it's right above where the sticky board ends
Maybe turn it around so they
and
can see it.
attached to the ribbon.
And bring it up.
I'm trying really hard to burn myself.
Oh, okay. There's no workman's comp here. Sorry.
But just make sure it's in the center. And sorry, she's all full of fuzz. We can't find the lint roller. We took it to a wedding and it never came back. All right, so then I didn't have any more of this greenery that I used, but I have this greenery, so I'm gonna use this. I'm gonna take off these fuzzes that are attached to this. And I'm probably gonna only use like that much of this greenery.
On each side.
Mm-hmm. This stuff is the worst at getting caught on all your fabrics and getting tangled with threads. But this is gonna go behind the ribbons. So just add a little bit of glue. You can always add more hot glue if you don't think that things are stuck good enough. I think I'm gonna do it underneath the red ribbon so it shows more. And then do the other side. This was a little wreath that I cut apart. I'm always looking for different kinds of greenery. Okay, and then Where'd that? I'm gonna cut this tag or hanger off of this little wreath.
If you can't find the wreath, you could use the little covered button. You could use...
You can use whatever you want. I just wanted all 4 of these ornaments to be the same. We are going to have more ornaments this year, but I wanted this series of 4 to be the same. So I put glue all around the outside of the wreath. I'm just going to attach it. And then just hold it until it's dry. And you have an ornament. No. From start to finish, that's probably what, 20 minutes? 15 minutes if you have all your supplies ready?
And then you can take a lint roller and roll off.
Yes, we'll clean them up and show you, but it's got like pieces of glue and everything all over it. So.
But the back of it is finished, so you don't have to worry about if it's on either side of the tree.
Right, and it's if you were gonna do this for a gift, you're all set. So, there you go. There's Mrs. Merry Mrs. Claus.
We can't tell you how much we appreciate you stitching our ornaments. We're so excited to see them finished each week, so thank you for that. We hope that this tutorial makes it a little bit easier for those that are scared to finish it into an ornament. This is probably one of the easier ways to start finishing your designs.
Right, right. So thanks very much for coming by, and we'll take a picture at the end for you to see all 3 of them together.
Bye.
Bye.